I first met the concept of discipline when I made a conscious effort to watch my trade rise to nearly a 1-to-3 profit before it reversed and hit my stop loss. The disappointment I felt was real, but I also felt a sense of accomplishment. If you're learning to be disciplined as a trader and hoping to hear something groundbreaking, I'm afraid that's a misconception. True discipline in trading comes from developing self-control. Think of it this way. How do you build muscle? You go to the gym. Do you enjoy every moment? Probably not. I've tried starting gym programs twice. I would feel motivated for 3 weeks, but then my enthusiasm would fade. By the time morning came, I often found myself persuading myself to skip the workout. As the saying goes, the wicked flee when no one pursues. In my case, I was the only one holding myself back. Similarly, in Forex trading, discipline is learned through practice. It's not a special skill that requires a unique program. When you feel the urge to close a trade, you must remind yourself to stay in it. Each time you resist that urge, it becomes easier. I've heard from dedicated gym-goers like that persistence pays off. If I had pushed through my initial 3 weeks and continued for 2 months, I might have developed a consistent routine. Trading psychology works in a similar way. The first attempt at discipline is often the hardest. I remember the first time I watched my trade go from a take-profit level of almost a 1-to-3 ratio, only to see it hit my stop loss. I felt terrible, but I was also proud of my effort. If I could do it once, I could do it again. The next time, I might not hit my stop loss at all. Perhaps I'd even achieve a 1-to-10 ratio instead. The more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes. The next time you feel tempted to close a trade prematurely, remind yourself to hold on. The joy of that one successful trade, where you resisted the urge to exit early, will motivate you to stick to your plan. It truly gets easier over time. Think of it as a psychological gym. The more you train your mind, the stronger you become. As I continued to navigate the intricacies of trading, I realized that discipline wasn't just about resisting the urge to close a trade too early. It was about adhering to a set of principles that guide my decisions. Just as a bodybuilder follows a strict regimen of exercises, sets, and reps, a trader must develop a systematic approach to their trades, complete with entry and exit strategies, risk management, and emotional control. One of the most crucial aspects of this discipline is the ability to stick to a trading plan, no matter how tempting it may be to deviate based on fear or greed. I recall a day when the market was particularly volatile, and I felt the adrenaline surging through me. The rush of excitement was intoxicating, and I was tempted to abandon my carefully crafted strategy for a more impulsive approach. But then, I remembered my earlier experiences, the pride in knowing I had stayed the course even when it was tough. I took a deep breath, leaned back in my chair, and reminded myself of my goals. It's important to establish a routine, just like that of a gym-goer. I started setting specific times for analysis, trading, and reviewing my performance. I treated my trading as a job, one that required dedication and focus. Each morning I would go through my charts, analyze the trends, and prepare my mind for the day ahead. This preparation not only sharpened my skills, but also conditioned my psyche to embrace the discipline necessary for success. Over time, I began to appreciate the beauty of routine. Each successful trade built my confidence, and each setback became a lesson rather than a defeat. The key was to maintain a growth mindset. Instead of viewing losses as failures, I started to see them as opportunities to learn and improve. I'd journal my trades, reflecting on what went well and what didn't, thereby solidifying my understanding of the market and my own emotional responses. As I built this mental muscle, I noticed a shift in my trading behavior. The anxiety that once accompanied holding a position began to fade. I became more attuned to my instincts, allowing me to make decisions based on logic rather than emotion. When I hit my stop loss, it no longer felt like a personal failure, but rather a necessary part of the trading process. I learned to accept that losses are inevitable and that they do not define my worth as a trader. The more I practiced, the more I realized that discipline in trading is akin to a long-distance run. It requires pacing, endurance, and the ability to push through discomfort. There were days when the market seemed to conspire against me, making it easy to second-guess my strategies. Yet, I found solace in the knowledge that every trader experiences these challenges. The key is to keep moving forward, one step at a time.